in spite of there being many people here this evening, we have a highly individualized relationship. Each person is invited into a spectacularly intimate connection with the primordial origin of consciousness, the primordial consciousness itself. The only way that relationship could happen is that you too are located in that primordial consciousness. So the relationship is structured in that undifferentiated awareness that is prior to all distinction, all individuality, and therefore all separateness. It's not a genuine contradiction to say that we can have an individualized relationship in that, because that cosmic awareness is permissive of the arising of individual beings. That you are an individual does not deny your source consciousness, which is radicalized absoluteness. In fact, your individuality is only a modification of that absolute condition. That means two things: that we can have a relationship on the level of individuality at the same time that we delve into that absolute field of being, and we don't need to struggle with correcting our individuality or trying to lessen it. So you can just leave yourself alone and begin discovering on your own how this relationship is possible and what the nature of that relationship is. So let this be a process of discovery for me and for you, how this is going to occur. One of the central aspects of my teaching is the transmission of the Shakti. The Shakti is not something other than the Absolute. This must be absolutely clear. Just like the waves of the ocean are not anything but ocean in motion, so too the Shakti is the motion of being. To think of the Absolute as static is to freeze it in a partial conceptualization, otherwise known as a lie. We cannot get caught up in our descriptions of being and thinking that how we express them summarizes them. This is so important, that you second guess your mind and its compulsion to categorize. The mind is a wonderful instrument to think and understand, to consider, to discriminate and discern, but that which goes on within the contents of your mind is not truth. Even when you are talking about what you feel to be the absolute truth. So to return to the subject of the Shakti, as a wave of electrified being, it purifies the one who receives it. There are obstacles, potential obstacles that can exist in some people toward realizing the undifferentiated consciousness. Shakti arises in order to meet those obstacles. It radiates its manifesting power and initiates the recipient, so that obstructions on the level of the emotions, the mind, even the physical body can be encountered and remedied. On the level of the emotion, you might be gripped by sorrow, grief, happiness, and many other things. On the level of the mind, you might be gripped with attachment, delusion, illusion, that is caught up in mental illusions, which you most definitely are, which we most definitely are if we are not awakened to the self as consciousness. And any bodily condition that would draw excessive or obsessive attention to itself. All those things can be categorized as obstacles to realization. The transmission of the Shakti is an initiatory fire, a transmitted radiance that enters into the awareness of the recipient and begins to fire up from within itself. It starts to create heat. In other words, it performs the practice of sadhana. It performs sadhana for you, in you, to you. In that way, obstacles can be addressed. And when the obstacles are dissolved, what remains is being, the non-dual. So it's the Shakti from the non-dual which meets you on an energetic level, enters you, and then reduces you or dissolves you back into the deeper absolute, the deeper aspects of the absolute that never even arise as energy. The pure non-dual core, the Advaitic core, the non-dual core within consciousness itself. Consciousness itself.